It's game night again at Madison Square Garden. The Rangers take on the St. Louis Blues. Hopefully, it's not a house of horrors. Madison Square Garden has been a tough place for the Rangers to win. 1-7-1, but they've got to break this four-game losing streak, change their mojo. As Will Cooley said, it's time to reset. Hey, everybody, this is Rangers Daily. I am your host, Todd Werwa. Thanks for joining us here on YouTube. Please subscribe, ring the bell, leave me a thumbs up, and please leave your comments, your thoughts, questions. It's been a rough few days, obviously, for Ranger fans. We'll see where this goes. I'm really not sure. Rangers go 0-3 on the road trip. They've lost 4 straight. It was another ugly one in Utah as the poorly constructed, old and slow Rangers couldn't compete with the young, fast Utah Mammoth. It's evident again, just like it was pretty much in Vegas, but for sure in Colorado, that this team just isn't built to compete with the best of the best, especially in the modern NHL where the game is so fast and you've got to get to the net. The Rangers just aren't showing that kind of desire, showing that kind of thrust, that speed, that quickness. Each time, they're either dangling east-west and turning the puck over, they're not breaking out properly, or they're dumping and changing or dumping and trying to win it, but it's turned into a very stale, I don't want to say boring, I don't want to say lackadaisical, but a lot of the mojo they got at the beginning of the year from playing right but losing close games and shutting down other teams. Now they can't get shots off. Now they can't shut down other teams. They win, I think, 3 straight games with under 20 shots on goal. Against Utah, they only had 22, and that was really buoyed by a mid-third period power play where they got a couple of shots, or else it really would have ended ugly. They had 12 shots in the first period and only 10 the rest of the way. They did play without JT Miller. They also played without Will Borgen. Miller got banged up in the Colorado game. So the Mika line was Cooley and Brodzinski. Scott Morrow played on defense, had a massive turnover that led to a goal. And just every time him and Matthew Robertson were on the ice, it was ugly. It wasn't very pretty. Morrow and Robertson played 13-34. They got out-attempted 16-8, outshot 9-3, and Utah scored 2 goals compared to none when they were on the ice for the Rangers. Mike Sullivan said they just didn't have the juice, didn't have the energy. Read you a quote. He said, "That's a young, fast team, and I just think we didn't win a whole lot of foot races. I didn't think we won a whole lot of puck battles. And when you don't win foot races or puck battles, you don't tend to have the puck." Yeah, that's not a recipe for victory. That's not a recipe for beating good teams, let alone even just decent teams. They keep talking about wanting to get more pucks to the net, yet they don't shoot. Or if they do, they miss it wide. They dump and chase, if you want to call it chip and charge, whatever. But they have no drive to the net. The lack of quality in the top 6 and the bottom 6, it's just a roster built of pluggers, and you're just not gonna compete. I get why Mike Sullivan has put in all this defensive structure, which they needed in order to keep the puck out of the net. But you just have to realize the other part of that is they have to do it because they can't outscore people. They can't beat people with speed. They can't dazzle people with beautiful moves or anything like that. It's tough. I'll give you 2 examples. Andre Tourigny the coach for the Utah Mammoth, said, "I can't be more proud of the battle level of my team." When's the last time we talked about the battle level of the Rangers? It's just not there. Maybe when Rempe and the momentum line, as that fourth line were going okay, you could see some of that battle level, but they're hitting people, but there's no battle. They're not winning pucks. They're not getting in your face on the forecheck. They're not winning pucks in the corner or along the boards. And oftentimes they lose battles along the boards and it ends up in the back of their net. JJ Peterka, who scored the first goal for the Mammoth, had this quote after the game about what the plan was for Utah. He said, "Keeping it simple was the message for the game. Just a lot of pucks to the net and a lot of second efforts to the net. That won us the game." If only the Rangers could do that. It seems like they say they want to, and Mike Sullivan talks about winning the net front, but they lost the net front twice. The first two goals were both net front goals against Utah. The third goal was a long-range shot that went off Taylor Raddysh's knee and in. But, get a lot of pucks to the net, get second chances, battle at the net. They talk that game, but they just don't play that way. And it's starting to get late early. This is a real difficult week coming up. After the Blues, it's Carolina on Wednesday, Boston on Friday, and Tampa on Saturday. And they always talk about Thanksgiving being the marker for, okay, what actually is your team? You really need to be in a playoff position. Well, they stand to be, right now they're second to last in the Eastern Conference, and they stand to be right down there. I think we kind of know what this team is now, and they're really going to need some luck, and I think they need a roster change. They need a roster change badly, whether it's shipping somebody out, whether going to the kids, whether cutting some of the dead weight and losing it. They're at give it through Thanksgiving, but Chris Drury's got to do something to change the mojo of this team, to change its compete level, to change its speed, and whether it's a minor trade and calling some people up from Hartford just to get some youthful quickness maybe in there and deal with the consequences of they're going to make mistakes. But it's getting ugly. The Panarin, Trocheck, and Lafreniere line at 5-on-5 had 12 scoring chances against Utah. No other line had more than 3. That's according to Natural Stat Trick, and Peter Baugh quoted some of that in his article on The Athletic. It's a bad roster. They've got to grind out and hope they can keep the puck out of the net. And that's a tough way to live in the best league in the world. One positive, Jonathan Quick shined again. He made 31 saves. All the goals were broken plays in front of him. The first goal bounced off the post and hit a leg. The second goal, Yamamoto, was an awful turnover by Scott Morrow. Yamamoto came in, kind of lost the puck. Clayton Keller was just off to the side of the net to recover it and score. And the third goal was a long-range shot that went off Taylor Raddysh's knee, and nothing Quickie could do. Natural Stat Trick had 11 high-danger shots against that Quick made 9 saves on. Steve Valiquette had the high percentage chances at Utah 17, New York 6. And to quote Valley, he said, "That's as lopsided as it gets in the NHL." Yeesh. And to compound it, he got hurt at the end of the game. Matthew Robertson checked Michael Carcone into Quick. It looked like it was his right leg. I don't think it was knee. Might have been lower, might have been ankle. Don't know exactly what it was. He did a bunch of stretches, did a bunch of little exercises, was able to stay in the game for like the final 3.5, 4 minutes. But it did lead to some roster shuffling on Sunday. Brett Berard and Dylan Garand are up. recalled from Hartford, as I said. JT Miller didn't play. He's nursing an upper body injury. Jonathan Quick got banged up. Will Borgen was put on IR, retroactive, I believe, to the 18th. Scott Morrow sent back to Hartford. He had some giveaways. Him and Robertson just didn't look good on the ice together. It means they only have 6D, which means someone's going to have to play the left. Some righty's going to have to play the left side. It should be interesting. Not sure how they'll line up. Berard brings speed. He brings energy. Hopefully he plays. He kind of has an in-your-face sort of style. He had a slow start in Hartford, but he's got 2 goals in his last 3 games and was tied for the team lead with 7 assists. So where does that leave us? Well, the Rangers take on the Blues at MSG. As I said, the Rangers are 1-7-1 at MSG, but maybe now, since they stink on the road, they'll be good at home. It's another one of those, can you come out with fire and take it to a team and show what you're made of? Win the battles. Don't be slow. Like Mika said, I just feel like we're late everywhere. We're not moving as a group of 5. You're late everywhere because it's not a fast team. You're thinking. You're not bringing energy and playing at top speed and putting pressure on teams. Let's see what the Rangers can bring at Madison Square Garden. The Blues haven't been very good. They're 3-1-4 in the last 8. That does mean, though, they have a point in 7 of the last 8, and the Blues beat the Islanders 2-1 on Saturday. Their team save percentage is terrible. It's .870. It's 29th in the league. Jordan Binnington was very good on Saturday against the Islanders, especially late. I think they had the extra man, and they might have had a power play too. I think they were up, might have been up 2-0. I don't remember, but Binnington was pretty good. He has not been good all year. So, we'll see what the Blues offer as an opponent. We'll see if the Rangers come out lifeless, and it's not so much just coming out with life, but sustaining that and battling. Even if you go down a goal, continuing to fight. I'll have my thoughts maybe later in the week about whether I think Mike Sullivan's system, while needed because of the poor roster construction, has taken a lot of the creativity and sort of zip out of a lot of these guys. I haven't put it all together yet, but listen, he can only coach what's put in front of him, and what's put in front of him is a team full of, line 2 and line 3 guys, and try to make something out of it. The bottom 2 lines have really been struggling. So we'll see. Hopefully the Rangers don't have the Blues after Monday, because it's a tough stretch through the Thanksgiving weekend. Anyway, hopefully we'll have positive stuff to discuss tomorrow. I hope your week is fantastic. I hope the Rangers beat the Blues. And as always, I appreciate you being here. Subscribe, leave a thumbs up, ring the bell, and leave your comments, thoughts, questions. I read them all. I appreciate them all. Until next time, thanks for watching.